Summer is right on our doorstep and travel is booming. So what better topic to talk about than flight anxiety? The irrational fear of flying in an airplane, which is in fact safer than things you do every day, such as driving. This topic for some reason kept coming back in my brain as something that I wanted to talk about on this channel, and I'm not really sure why it kept coming back to me. Honestly, didn't even want to believe myself that I had flight anxiety because I felt this like imposter syndrome. Like, I travel for a living. I'm a travel nurse and now a travel agent, and I do travel videos on YouTube. I'm supposed to be like promoting travel and having a positive experience with my travels and not negative. I've been very open about my anxieties over the past couple of months when it comes to our travel, such as like scuba diving and skiing, and just whenever I feel a little bit anxious. And flights have definitely been really high on my anxiety level every time we fly, especially to those long haul flights to Hawaii. When I was researching and thinking about things I do to help with my anxiety, and I Googled what other people might do, and a really interesting fact came up that flight anxiety is actually the second largest fear in the United States, which made me feel not so alone in this topic. So I'm going to tell you guys what I do to relieve my anxiety and what you can do to do the same. So for me, it's not necessarily the anxiety of like getting to the airport and going through all that process. It's more of the actual flying, taking off, landing, and the turbulence. It is not natural to be 30,000 feet in the air in this metal airplane shaking around with lots of people. So now more recently that I've been admitting that I'm anxious during flying, I've actually come to self-realize that there's things you can do to really improve your anxiety while you're flying. And these are the things that have helped me, especially in my early 20s, that when I flew and I was able to drink alcohol, for some reason, that is what I went to. And I'm not really sure why. I'm sure it was just like I'm drinking some champagne on a plane, or like, you know, just that feeling. And I'm sure a lot of people kind of feel the same. And that's why they sell alcohol on planes, to relieve your nerves. But I've come to realize that that does not help. In fact, alcohol makes flying much, much worse for me. It makes me more nauseous, more sick. I also get motion sick, so that does not help. Caffeine. Caffeine is the worst thing you can do to yourself before you fly. I'm an avid coffee drinker. I don't drink Cokes or anything like that, but coffee is super high in caffeine, and you know what caffeine makes you do? Get really anxious. So mix of caffeine and something you're already anxious about is just an episode of disaster. So with that being said, I've tried to at least cut down a little bit of that stuff, not do it as much as I used to, especially like going in the airport lounges. Even the last time we flew to Hawaii and back, I did not even drink alcohol. And I maybe had like a half a cup of coffee. And I don't think I was really trying to do that. It just happened because my body knows I do not need that. Cut out the caffeine, cut out the alcohol. It's not gonna help you. You know, it is what it is. Another thing I do, if you're like me, I get really, really motion sick. So I go ahead and take a Dramamine and even like a Pepto-Bismol or something, or a Tums, just to relax my stomach. If I do get that like anxious motion sick feeling, then that definitely helps. But another really great thing, I use lavender in times of stress. And actually, fun fact, you guys know I'm a travel nurse, and during nursing school we did a study, or I was part of a study, our class was, on the effects of lavender in stress relief and anxiety relief. And actually it's shown, and I'm sure you guys have heard as well, that it really improves your anxiety and your stress. So Sam and I, we both use it. We do lavender for flights and also for work, because our work is really stressful. I do have to say though, smells are a high trigger in your memories, and they're the #1 sense that triggers memories. So I've come to realize that when I use lavender, sometimes I think of the stressful times at work where I was smelling lavender at work. But other than that, I think it really does help. Another thing I love to do is distract myself. Now, some of those movies, and a lot of them on airplanes that you can watch, especially those long haul ones, they're all action movies, and it kind of suspenses you while you're on a plane shaking with turbulence, and it's just a bad combination. But they're not action movies on the screen, they're children's movies. So sometimes I would go and watch the little children's movies, Disney movies, because it's happy. It kind of like makes your mood a little bit better. But most of the time I don't watch those movies. I either do something else like work or edit, play games on your phone, You can download movies on your own phone that aren't action movies and suspenseful. So just distracting yourself is a really good tactic. But I have to say, my very favorite one is sleeping. So I feel like this can be controversial because if you're really high anxiety, you probably can't fall asleep. But then again, sleeping helps pass the time and gets rid of your anxiety because you don't realize you're on a plane when you're sleeping. I think another thing that helps me sleep on the plane, like I said earlier, is taking that Dramamine or motion sickness medicine. A lot of them do make you drowsy, so I think that helps a lot. You can use other methods to make you sleep easier on planes. I don't have trouble at all sleeping on planes. It just has to be after we take off and we're at a good level and there hasn't been turbulence for a while and we're not about to land. If you can sleep on planes, I definitely recommend that you try. I don't know if I'm the only one, but I also look around at other people and see how they react. And there's literally no one else that looks anxious other than me, although I might have seen like one person in my lifetime that was like shaking and looking a little anxious. For some reason, it just makes you feel like you're the only one that even worries about this kind of stuff. I also would look at the flight attendants and they're never phased. So that kind of relieves my anxiety knowing that others aren't freaked out and the flight attendants aren't freaked out. Now this one I think is good for everyone. Close your eyes, kind of meditate, do whatever you think you need to bring your brain back to realization. Think about why you're on the plane, where you're going. You're gonna have a fun time in your new vacation. You're gonna see family, you're gonna see friends. Whatever the reason of travel is, it's gonna be fun in the end. And this is just a very small part of your full travel experience. There's even some apps out there that you can download. One of them is called Headspace, which is actually really good. I've used it a lot of times before, but I've come to figure out that I do better with my own thoughts and my own relaxation techniques and kind of guiding myself instead of letting an app do it. But just so you know, there's a lot out there that can definitely help you. One really cool thing I didn't even know existed until recently. Certain airlines have courses about flight anxiety. So you can go on your airline, look it up, take the course. I haven't done it myself, maybe I should, but I literally just discovered this a couple of days ago. So I definitely want to get on there and see what it's all about. But what a cool thing. Looking out the window really increases my anxiety. For some reason, during takeoff and landing, looking out the window and filming that just kind of triggers me a little bit. Also, when we're up in the air and you can see the ground below, that kind of triggers me a bit. So what I've learned to do is just shut the window. I know during takeoff and landing they make you open it, but do your best not to look out the window if that's your trigger. And then during the flight, just close it. And what's really silly, we went skydiving recently and I don't think I was one bit anxious, maybe like 5%, but nothing like I feel when I fly on a commercial airplane. It just doesn't make sense to me in my brain. I don't know. I know all these tips seem a little trivial and like small, but all of these things combined I have seen that my anxiety has improved a little bit. What are some of the things that you guys do when you fly to help with anxiety? I would love to know. Help me, help the community. We can all talk about our flight anxiety together. And if you haven't seen some of our other travel tips, we're slowly building up this playlist. Watch some of these videos right now. Is booming. What? Okay. Trash can, or trash truck? Dumpster truck. Okay, let's just wait a little bit. My battery's only at 37%, so we gotta make this quick. Okay. You know what? That's just gonna be in the background. Let's go.